Good afternoon, everyone. It's Brian Caprice from Keep Trading Simple, and welcome to this week's Nadex Weekly Charts and Analysis. It's March 29th. We are done. It's amazing that March is over this quickly. Pretty soon, get ready for all those April Fool's jokes. They're coming. You know they do. They do it every year. We're right there. So, a lot of news this morning. So, we're going to kind of jump into things pretty quick today. Hopefully, my voice holds and maintains the entire time. It was opening weekend for the boys lacrosse. You guys know how it is. I'm sure that most of you had the super cold temperatures. We had snow. When there's wind, you got to yell louder. And I basically didn't talk all yesterday afternoon just so I could be ready for today. So hopefully it holds for the entire time period. Anyway, for those of you that are new, welcome to the group. Every week we have new people that keep coming in, and it's awesome to see new faces in there. I try to be as friendly as possible. You guys are allowed to ask anything you guys like. Type it in the chat, and myself or the moderator will be able to hopefully answer it for you. Just so you guys kind of have a little bit of background of who I am. I've been trading since about 1999. I'm a Y2K trader. I'm not a 12th generation trader. Actually, I'm the first one in my family. My dad is super, or was he's passed away, but he's super risk averse. So I was kind of the opposite of my dad. But I started with stocks and traditional options like most people. I don't have a degree in it. Obviously, college degrees don't teach you how to trade the markets, but did that for about 6 years. Learned about foreign currency, fell in love with that area. Learned to trade futures. I worked for a company that used to teach people how to trade. Became a financial advisor. Was one of the big three. Got a great education of kind of what happened behind the scenes in the market. Learned all about bonds. I can say that I actually have worked on Wall Street, not just the geographical location, but the actual street itself. My apartment where I used to live in New York City in the financial district was 2 blocks from the New York Stock Exchange. I used to walk past it every single day to go to work. The bull that everybody sees, you think New York, you think the bull. Actually, right outside my office, I could look out my office window and be able to see it. So, very, very cool experience. Kind of the history behind, floor traders and all that kinds of stuff. Left that industry. Obviously, yeah, my home is in Maryland, so I'm back at home. Have 4 little kids. There's only 3 in this picture because of COVID. We didn't get the traditional family picture, so that's on the way. And again, written a number of different courses that we use over use with Nadex. Different breakout classes, high volatility trading. The 30-minute trader was obviously a very popular one as well. But I've been kind of part with Nadex now for about 4 years, doing news articles, education summits for them, and then obviously weekly analysis. It's one of my favorite things to do, just because we can really dive in and kind of have fun with the markets, kind of what we're seeing. And again, each week I want you guys to get one golden nugget from this, something that you either didn't know, needed clarification on, a different way of looking at things. And again, that's why I do what I do. I try to have as good a time at this as I possibly can. Before we begin, obviously, I'm going to be talking, and looking at charts. Obviously, we got to talk about disclaimers because there is money involved with any trading that you do. But just so everybody understands that trading on Nadex involves risk and may not be appropriate for all. Members risk losing the cost of another transaction, including fees. Now, you should carefully consider whether trading on Nadex is appropriate for you in light of your investment experience and financial resources. Any trading decisions that you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. None of the material presented here is to be construed as a solicitation, recommendation, or offer to buy or sell any financial instrument on Nadex or elsewhere. Now, Nadex is subject to U.S. regulatory oversight by the CFTC, and Nadex is a registered trademark of Crypto.com. We don't have there's nothing really been rolled out yet, but I hear a lot of great things are coming. So I actually got a question yesterday with one of my students that said, "Hey, listen, now that Crypto.com owns Nadex, is Nadex going away?" And it could be that's the farthest from the truth. It actually, I can't wait to hear about the Nadex expansion, guys. So there's a lot of fun things coming down the pipe. Um, I don't know anything that you guys don't know that's not already public knowledge, but from everything I hear and from as pump up as the Nadex employees sound, it sounds like there's a lot of really, really cool stuff coming. So very excited to be along for the ride. And again, if you guys are here, means you guys could be on the ride as well. So, pretty exciting, right? So, what we're going to cover today, there you go, just make sure that the mouse wheel is scrolling correctly. We're going to cover upcoming news events for the week. Obviously, this morning has been chock full of news, right? I think it was very interesting news, and I'll give you guys my opinion on the news this morning. Obviously, there's definitely been some retracements today. Obviously, world peace is great. It's one of those things that we can't plan. So when I talk about news, I don't know, there's no way to actually prepare for that. But what we can prepare for is economic news releases. There's a lot of them in the next 3 days. Some very, very important ones. One of them is considered the biggest market mover that exists. Um, That's on Friday. So we'll talk about those and how we can trade some of those potential setups. We'll dive into the indices. This morning, the indices have basically been straight up. Again, hearing about peace is wonderful. Um, the realization of Ukraine being the kind of final excuse that the Fed has is now going away. Hasn't hit the markets yet. It will. It will very soon. We'll talk about what that kind of looks like, and there's some interesting levels that are being hit now. We'll cover forex again. There's been a lot of movement this morning in forex, as you would expect. I mean, the euro is absolutely just taken off, right? Why? Well, if there's peace in the Ukraine, that means Europe is safe again, right? Last week, 2 weeks ago, it was, oh God, our nuke's going to be used, right? Chemical weapons. And now we're talking peace. It's a huge boom for the euro. Also, the yen has had some, a lot of movement as well, and as it should. It's funny. All the headlines are, oh my God, the yen is so weak. It's so weak. It's so weak. And there was some comments yesterday. It's like, yeah, it's not a problem until the dollar yen gets to 130. It's at like 123, and since that time, it's been kind of an immediate reversal, as well as obviously Ukraine helps that as well because it's associated, it's linked with the indices, or as a proxy to our indices. And then last but not least, commodities. Obviously, a lot of commodities movement. We've seen so much, particularly in oil. Um, and this is another one of those. Um, we were laughing about it earlier today. It's like, yeah, peace. This is awesome for oil. Is it? Is it really? Do you think magically all the sanctions are going to disappear the second that peace is there? No. Um, you know, the dollar has been weaponized now. Russia's saying if you want to buy oil from us, it's going to be in rubles. And G7 yesterday said no. You think Russia's going to finally be like, okay, fine, we'll do it your way? I don't think so. So, and they said if you don't pay, we don't send. So I think that's a scenario that's going to unfold. And then again, with the way that oil has been dropping right now, whew, OPEC Plus is going to be like, hey, we've lost $17 a barrel in a week. Why would we increase production to lower it and crash it even more? Is probably what they're going to say. And they're meeting on Thursday. So, yeah, a lot of things going on. So, a lot of different ways to play it. This is one of those weeks really where swing traders out in the market are probably not having the best week because we go from 4 days ago talking about how the nuclear option is off the table to world peace today, right? So obviously times are volatile. It's about understanding risk in any single position you're in, but obviously Nadex gives you a good ability to be able to do that. So with that, let's go right into the charts because that's really where we need to start everything out today. So, actually, you know what? Before we jump into the charts, let's talk about the news first. I want to cover that because we do have the JOLTS data. Let me get the most refreshed total here. So, obviously, the JOLTS data coming in a little bit higher than expected, you would say, is good, right? There's more job openings, more people are looking to get back into the market. Looks like Forex Factories. There we go. There we go. Looking to get back in. Consumer confidence a little bit higher than expected. There was an adjustment down before, so again, it kind of equals out when you have one that's down. And it's like, wait a second, that's better than expected, right? Um, you know, consumer confidence rises, even though that again, despite inflation, inflation is going to be the big thing. Remember, we got a lot of energy inflation out there now, and we haven't even really seen the worst of inflation yet. Um, the Fed talks about it. Harker looks like just talked about a little while ago. Again, this is interesting. His forecast is for Fed hikes has seven 25 basis point hikes. Okay. It's interesting because a lot of other people would not take a 50% basis off the table for the next meeting, but not committing to it either. So again, remember the reason they didn't do it last time is because the uncertainty of the Ukraine. It's like, oh God, you know. And again, Harker's kind of all over the place. But yeah, another wrench in the supply chain can make 50 more appropriate. Look, talking about it. And remember, last time after they did 0.25, you had many of the Fed presidents talking about, man, the data is screaming for zero point 0.5. And Bullard's like, why did you guys vote for 0.25 then? So he's been, with Ukraine, with the situation de-escalating, I really feel like they have absolutely this is it. This is the last excuse. Which again I think is where putting the market into kind of a tizzy. We did get some information. There was again all the data from this morning was about you know we definitely had a constructive meeting. We think we have something out there. The last update we had was hey we said we would de-escalate. Right? It didn't mean ceasefire. It just means that we're pulling back. We're not going as hard as we were around the big cities. He's like, listen, it needs to be clarified that we don't have a deal yet. That it does not mean ceasefire. It means that we're not going to go as hard with the shelling and kind of the, I guess, kind of barricading of the cities is kind of I guess what people are saying that they are doing. So, but look, there's still a long way to go before reaching a mutually acceptable deal with the Ukraine. So, I think that's important to note. All the piece today is like, yep, the deal is signed. I think it's important to remember the reason why originally we were told that Russia was going across the border was protected to separatist regions that were not even controlled by the Ukraine. And Zelensky originally said, "Hey, we're not ceding any territory," but then he said, "We want them to push back to where they were on the 25th or 24th or 25th of February, which happened to be when they were already in those two zones." So Russia's basically said, "Hey, listen, there are two separatist areas. We support them. We acknowledge them as their own territories." Zelensky originally said no, so I don't know if Russia's going to abandon those two territories, which I don't think so. Um, I feel like you know, I think at this point it's kind of like we need to, we just need to end this. Is kind of where we're at. So we'll see what the true details are. The one update we got was we have a deal that we're going to give to Putin now. So Putin was not even involved in any of the negotiations up until this point. So it's very easy that in the snap of a finger, Putin's going to like, no, we're getting the two territories will be independent states, or it's not going through. So it could literally, as quick as this was great today, tomorrow could be just as bad. So we got to watch out for that. Got to play it right. Um, Looking at tomorrow, we have some big headlines, right? We have European president, ECB president, starting early. Broadbent, who makes some kind of crazy comments, right? That's tomorrow morning early, and then we have ADP non-farm employment change. Now, this number has been kind of crazy, like up, down, left, right. So, I mean, they're all over the place. Back in January, it was supposed to be 400, came in at 807, and then the next month it was supposed to be at 185, and it came at negative 300. Last month was a little bit closer, but you can see this one is not typically right too often. And we've seen a lot more movement out of this first one, this ADP. And again, this is ADP payrolls. Not everybody's payroll is just ADP. There's plenty of people that do payroll. ADP is the biggest. Kind of gives us a foreshadow of what we could see. But if we get a huge number here, everybody's going to be looking across at the Fed going, are you going to stop the 40-year high inflation or not? Final GDP numbers, and again, 7%, kind of big, not holding us back. Crude oil inventories right now, the forecast is we're going to have a minus 2 million down draw, right? Down draw on supply. Again, another one of those numbers that can be all over the place. They haven't been right. Last week, yeah, there's supposed to be a small down draw, and again, it was bigger than expected. They're increasing it a little bit. We'll see. I think this will be an interesting number. This last weekend is the data is not really in this, factored in yet. Today at 4:30, we'll get the ADP. I'm sorry, the API oil inventory report, and that will give us kind of the first, you know, inkling of what tomorrow could look like. Remember, the API that we get today is not the EIA number that we have tomorrow. There was data earlier, or not data, but there was news yesterday of the UAE talking about what OPEC Plus is going to do, and is Russia going to leave that one? And you know, looks like there's been some solidarity inside of OPEC Plus that it's not going away. But they had their meetings on Thursday, right? On Thursday, we're going to see some headlines. And in all honesty, after seeing such a big drop in the last 10 days, I'm pretty sure that they're not going to increase supply to drop this even further down because they're not trying to help. They don't care about energy inflation in the United States. It's not important to them. It's not something that drives OPEC Plus to do things differently. So again, very much agree, different product. And then Thursday, we also have GDP and CAD. Again, expected to be up 0.2%. Again, I think we start to see some raises. And we also have the core PCE, which is, again, what the Fed is looking at. It's lower than what it was last time, although last time it kind of came in directly as expected. They're showing that it's going to be less inflation, maybe. But again, it is still going in the positive direction. It is not going backwards at all. Unemployment claims, again, kind of a non-factor at this point, and then obviously PMI, and then some Swiss talk. And then Friday, we got the 8:30 mega numbers, right? Our average hourly earnings expected to go up last time. Remember, inflation went higher last time, right? Inflation went higher last time. They expected the earnings to, the average hourly earnings to match, and it didn't. It was totally flat. So we saw more inflation and no increases in pay. They're saying this time, hopefully it's going up, right? Hopefully, fingers crossed. And then again, we have the non-farm and the unemployment rate. And again, the unemployment rate number, it's one of those things that it's not 100% an accurate number right now. Again, it comes back to labor, participation rates. I say this every time. We'll see. I mean, it really, the number of jobs actually created, hired is more important than what this rate is. Because again, there's some problems with this number, and it really shouldn't be kind of a main focus. People love to use it for political reasons. Like, look, we got it back down to here. It's like, yeah, but we're at 10% less labor utilization than we were back then. So Would it be better to have this rate be a little bit higher, but have 10% more of the working force working? Yeah, probably, right? And then we have ISM manufacturing kind of to round out the day on Friday. So a lot going on. Now, that's just the economic news releases that we know about. What's going to happen with the Ukraine is one of those things. Let's see. Has not seen signs of real seriousness from Russia. Again, Blinken was not in the negotiations with the two negotiators, so it's nice that we're kind of saying this. Blinken says Russia should end the aggression now, pull back its forces. I think we need to be very, very careful, right, with these comments. China, India has kind of made some stands now. People have said that the United States is continuing this and being the aggressor here. It's kind of Russia's standpoint as well. If there is peace and we have the United States still doing this, I think it's a very dangerous game, particularly on the back of the Biden comments about how Putin needs to be removed from power. Was his words correct? No. Was the sentiment of what he was trying to say probably correct? Yes. But at this level, remember, translations don't come across well. If we're at a section of peace telling us that we're, telling another, guy that may or may not be all there that he's going to be removed, he needs to be removed from power. Could he take that as a threat? Yes. Does that help peace talks? No, no. So we'll see. Like I said, it's this is breaking that he sees them not being serious, but he wasn't in the negotiations. We don't know what Russia's going to do with it. So I think we need to be very, very cautious, and we'll see. Um, this is one thing you can see all the hottest news right now: Russia, 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 Ukraine, Russia. So that's absolutely dominating the markets today. As I said, at the blink of an eye, Putin could shoot down the whole deal, and they could go back to the negotiating table, and everything that we thought was good today all of a sudden could be just fake, and we could have a major reversal in the market. So you absolutely need to be able to watch kind of where you are risk wise. Even when I click this, you can see it's Russia, Russia, Blinken saying they're not serious, Russia, dollar CAD, and then we have some rates in Japan. So it's just completely dominated by obviously Russia at this point. And again, it's a big deal. Um, but again, I want to leave with this before we go into the charts. Understand too, if we have peace tomorrow and Russia says, okay, by the end of the week I'll roll all my troops out, we're happy to go. The United States is not going to lift sanctions tomorrow. You know, any of the attacks, they're not giving the boats back. Every day we see, oh, they seized another yacht. They're not giving the yachts back. So, you know, this is all great news, but at the same time, you need to be able to kind of look at this with a kind of a broader scale and say, okay, so does that mean everything's fixed? If we all go back, will it be just like it was a month ago? The answer is probably no. So there's going to be some lasting effects in this into the future. Europe is still going to go for energy independence. Russia's still going to have to make money off of things. I think Russia's going to stick to their guns, but if you want this, you're going to buy it in rubles because they know that we can't replace them. So I think that's where we're heading. And again, we haven't heard much more about that. So yeah, but that's the week at a glance right now. So again, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is obviously a huge day, right? Saturday, obviously nothing. Sunday, nothing. And then Monday, not really a whole lot out there. So, I'm assuming that we'll get some more data, more headlines, maybe more about what the potential peace could look like. Again, there'll be neutrality. I'll tell you right now, Zelensky has said that, we will, once you remove your troops, we'll put it to a vote for neutrality. There's no way that Putin is going to sign anything unless the neutrality is guaranteed, because that was one of the big hot buttons. So that's something that's going to have to be, I don't know, maybe voted, maybe not voted. That's going to be obviously a hot button that we need to hear another headline about before we can really do much more. So, yeah. So, all right, let's go across and let's start off with the VIX. So, obviously, absolutely no surprises. I mean, a lot of the VIX movement was yesterday. I'm actually kind of surprised the VIX has not moved even lower today with all the talks. And again, a lot of volatility out there in the markets, a lot of movement. But again, has it been more positive than negative? Yeah, I would say absolutely. I mean, I think it's hard to debate whether or not, them saying, both sides, not just the Ukraine or not just, Russia, delegations from both sides said there was positive talks. We feel like we're at a stance now where we could, bring it back to our leaders to have it. I mean, that's positive. It's down 4%. I'm really surprised it's not gone more than this, today. And again, the question is, does the market know something that we don't know? Do they have a belief? It's like, yeah, we know that this is still a problem. We know this is still a problem. We know this is a problem. The headline of peace sounds great, but again, sanctions are not disappearing. What else could happen from the current situation of where we're at, right? Again, VIX down 4%. Obviously, all the indices are going to be up. The dollar taking it pretty hard too. Um, Again, it's kind of pushed through. We've seen, it really started from yesterday at 9:30. We kind of saw a pullback, right, late last night, and then again, really from about the European session open, this just started to collapse. The dollar went down, 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 and quite a large move, right? Has it really left the channel that it's been in? The answer is not really. I mean, again, we'll move this. I could extend this across, and that's what we ran into. But I'm going to use this as talking about the channel. Here's been the bottoms. I mean, really, here's a gap right here, right? Here's a bottom. Here's a bottom, and we're kind of close. So it's got a little bit more. So we're still kind of in the sideways channel. I think what we really are going to need for the dollar to really, and again, the dollar, all the currencies, as well as the indices, we need someone to say at this point, I think it's appropriate. We need somebody else besides Bullard to say point 0.5 is appropriate. Everybody's saying point 0.5 is not off the table, but we need one more shoe to drop. We're going to raise it. We know they're absolutely raising interest rates. It's just whether to be 0.25 or a point 0.5. A lot of people have mentioned that, have brought up that point 0.5, point 0.5, point 0.5, point 0.5. It may be appropriate. It's not off the table. With Ukraine, I feel like point 0.5 is coming. Okay. So I think that the dollar will have its day. A lot of this movement to the downside also has me thinking this is the market pre-positioning the dollar. It's getting ready for that point 0.5. Okay. And that's why I think this pullback is really good for the dollar. And again, it'll affect everything. So let's look at the ES, right? So the ES is high. Okay. We mentioned that, and there's some levels up here. These are older levels, right? On a 30-minute, you can see that these are areas. We've actually had these pointed out for a while. And when you look at kind of where these levels are, we had basing here, and we mentioned that, hey, this was news before. We had this arrow here, and we hit it. So this is an area we had marked. Here's some decent basing, right? We had a drop of base and a strong push. It's definitely an area you got to watch out for. And then we got another area up top here. This is another one of those psychological levels at 4660 where we've hit it. And again, the market hit it again, it hit it again, it hit it again, right around that 4650-ish level, which is right here, right where this kind of push happened. Forward to where we are today, that's kind of where we hit. And again, the market kind of stalled, and then we had a little bit of a spike. And again, not really surprised. The open kind of pushed it a little bit higher. And we've kind of pushed down and, again, grabbed some orders at 10 o'clock and pulled back again. But it's not really rallying, right? Most of this movement happened from yesterday at noon up, and then we kind of based. And all of a sudden it was like, we got peace, 7:30, and now we're starting to pull back again. So, we knew it was an area already. I would say looking at this right now, I mean, really until the deal signed, what other kind of catalyst do we have that's going to drive this higher? I think at this point we start to look for reversals. Now, we normally do our analysis on a 15 minutes, so let's pull it down to there and say, hey, listen, could we have traded this at the open? So the very, very peak of this right here is the opening candle. Okay, we were sitting in a zone, and this is one of the things you got to love about Nadex, right? A lot of traders were looking at this saying, this is absolutely great data. There's peace in the Ukraine. I love it. And at the open, started to buy this. We broke above our Globex highs. They started to buy it. And immediately within that one candle, actually, let's go to a 5-minute. You can see here at 9:30, it went straight up. And at 9:35, we were already below the open. Okay. That is the epitome of a trap at the open of the markets. Now, here's the cool thing about this. Okay. Had you been looking at this and saying, hey, listen, we're already high, we're already in an area of sellers, I'm going to short this on a short duration binary contract. Did you take a little bit of heat in the very beginning? Yeah, for the first 5 minutes at the open, you took a little bit of heat. And then what happened? Within 5 minutes, you're already positive. And then as it came down, here's the 10 o'clock candle. Had you been trading the 8 to 10 or the 9 to 11, which is right here, you guys can see that it pulled all the way back again, ended up grabbing some levels, which again, on the 15-minute, there was obviously some basing here. That's where the last takeoff happened. Could you have played it here at 10:10? Sure. Could you have played the 8 to 10 at the open? Did it work out for you? Yeah. Did you get stopped out like futures contracts? Nope. So again, in reality, we were up here, right? We are actually down on the day from where we opened, right? We're still up because it's based off the closing price, not the opening. But here's your 9:30 open is right here, is right there. And now prices are right here. Okay. So we are actually down from where the open was today. Even though it's green, again, that's off the closing price, right? So again, some interesting movement back and down. Overall, people are looking at this. And again, I think more and more people are going to start talking about this, right? Yeah, look at this. Wall Street, and here's the news, right? Wall Street set for gains on signs of progress in the Ukraine peace talks. Yeah, all the retail traders hit buy, and immediately, because they read in the news, said it was going to go up, down, and down, got stopped out. But again, had you taken a short position with Nadex, limited risk entry, again, short duration contract, that's a heck of a lot of movement in a very short period of time. Great way to play this. And I would say look for this for the rest of the week. I think any positive news, it'll be very, very big on traps. We've had a lot of traps in the last 7 days, right? Price goes above that Globex high. People are hitting that buy button and it immediately turns and rolls back down again. So I think that continues. Again, just more reason why you should be playing these shorter duration contracts at the open. Now, the NQ is doing a little bit better, but what is NQ doing, right? Kind of the same thing. The NQ opened right here on that green candle is where it opened, and we're sitting there right now. We're actually a little bit lower than what we opened today. It shows you that it's the second strongest. It's up 1%. Yeah, it's up 1% from the close. But again, kind of the same scenario. We knew we were higher, and again, looking across, we can put a horizontal line and say, hey, what did we run into? Did we run into anything? We did. We did. There was an area kind of sitting right here. We knew that there was a big push, right? We knew that we had a smaller one too. Let's see where both these actually come from. Let's see. We'll pull this and pull this. And let's see if it was the same type of spike that we had before. Actually, that was the old one. Let's see. Let's go all the way across. Shrink this up a little bit, and there we go. So look at that. So we opened today in kind of that same level. We were in that level. We knew we had sellers there. 8:45, 9 o'clock. No movement. 9:15, and again 9:30. Everybody knew it was going to be great. Boom! It went right up. Ended up missing that kind of top level, and again, big reversal, very very fast to the downside on the world piece. Now, just like the other one, when you're looking at areas of big movement off of it, there it was. And by the way, you guys have seen this before in the past. 10:30 is right there. So where was your reversal today? There's your opening. There's your down. 10:30 is right there. And what was your reversal off that one? To the top side. So again, just because we have other things going on, don't forget your 10:30 reversals, everybody. 10:30 reversals right there. Right? Drop it down to 5 minutes so you guys can get a better view of it. 10:30 is right here. I'll move this out of the way. So there you go. And again, 10:40. 10:40 is where it ended up tagging the zone again. And you were out. So are we having much movement today? No, not really. We opened here. We're over here right now. The one thing that I would say I'd watch out for is we have sellers there. We have sellers there. And now we have another lower high, lower high. Are we going to retrace back down? I would say, yeah. I think 15,000 is probably on the books today. I think, again, we're going into lunchtime right now. If we can see this continued deterioration, any type of negativity in news at all, again, look for this to come lower. Okay. So again, be very, very cautious when you see this. Up, markets are going up today. Peace in Ukraine. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody bought at the open because it was going to go up and an immediate trap to the downside. And again, 10:30 reversal off an area on the 15-minute. Right. 15-minute level of basing was our last pop. Grabbed it at 10:30, reversed back up again, and now we're going to come back down again. So most people would see this and be like, why are the markets not going so much higher? It's because, again, it's kind of this is one of those scenarios that good is bad, right? Too much good information means we're probably going to raise interest rates faster because that is being pulled off the table. And overall, that is a negative-based news event. YM, I didn't touch this one. This is an old level that we had. You can see we talked about this level at 35,000, and it kind of did the same thing. The 9:30 candle is the green one that touched it. The same news, peace in the Ukraine. Everybody hits buy. It runs into an area that we talked about and is now pulled all the way back down again. So this was an opening print trade today on the 15-minute. Hit an area of supply. Your 1 to 3 is right there. Now, this one also had a little bit of a reversal, but remember, we're not taking I'm not a big believer in reversals. You don't go short and then go long. Remember, the opposite area, just like those other trades, we had an area of basing hit right here, right? There was a takeoff point. It came back down at 10:15. It hit that level. That was not a long. That would have been your target for the short. So in essence, it was a 1 to 5.15. So quite a large little trade off the open. And all you were doing was, in reality, what did you do? You played the retail trader, right? You played the retail trader. And what do I mean by that? Again, all the news places said, hey, peace, go long, market's going to be up today. Unfortunately, all the movement already occurred in the European session. So it trapped everybody that said, hey, listen, we're breaking over highs. They weren't looking at the supply and demand of things. And again, this one is one of the weaker ones out there. The YM is one of the weakest ones. And we're starting to see deteriorate. I would say also, one thing I'd watch for this one is we do have a lot of basing right here, right? I don't know if we'll be able to clear from it today, but let's pull this off. I'll pull that one. And again, we'll leave the 35. I would say this area right here kind of is it's not a I don't want to say it's a parabolic move because it's not just one big candle, but it's very, very fast movement with very, very little pullback. One thing I'm going to watch out for, and again, if you guys know how to set alerts, set yourself an alert, right? Set yourself an alert right here at 34,825, right below these. Now, this is obviously this is going to be an area where support and resistance traders are going to look at this and say, "Oh my God, there's a pivot right there." Again, I think there'll be a bit of a trap when we hit that area, but I'd be very, very curious to see if we have a kind of a Harry Potter short here, right? A break of this level, any type of basing below a pullback, and then that's the trigger for this one to come back down. And again, potentially pulling back down to the 34,500. I think it can make it down there. I think that's it's there, right? I mean, again, decent basing. You're gonna have some fib traders step into that one. Again, taking this one low to high. You're gonna see that's right around where fib traders are gonna come in. Algorithms are gonna be like, oh, the 50% is right there. Yeah, maybe it hits it the first time and bounces, but I like to see it come down in base when it comes through, eat up the rest of the buyers that we have in here, and when it finally does break, hey, who knows? The first time it hits it, maybe it does go back up. Don't care. When it finally breaks, if this then that, take this one for a second short, bringing it back down because again, it is the weakest. We talk about a point 0.5 raise. That's all the catalyst that we need for this one to drop. So very interesting setup in the YM for later this week. The Russell went up to a level we had previously marked off. Let's see if we can see it. Yeah, we talked about it over here. Look, it was an old level, right? It was an old level. It was a bottom, a front run, a bottom. And what did we talk about as a Harry Potter? A punch through. If you got it here, great. If you didn't, you still grabbed it here down. That's exactly what we bounced off of today. And now this one is reversing as well. So again, old level that we had on here. Again, this is the nice thing about charts is it never disappears. It's 1 to 3 is right there. Actually, let's see, 1306, 3.03. We're about to hit the 1 to 3 off the open. And again, there's 11, there's 1030. There's your 1030 reversal. But what did the open look like? The opening candle is this green. We shot up because everybody said it was going to go high. Everybody tried to get in. Boom, went right back down again. Hit 1030, kind of came back up again, and then 1045 it started the reverse. So although Russell is the strongest right now, up 1.7, if you didn't get in at the very, very open, it looks like the trade is now officially out. Yeah, by 935, this is the 930 candle. So by 935, price was sitting right here. If you were late at all in getting into this trade, and again, a lot of people will see this bursting through, trying to get in the first 5 minutes. Again, breaking through 2100, pivot point. All these people that tried to buy in the first 5 minutes got stopped out. And then when it went higher and it broke through this pivot, everybody and their brother that said, I'm a support and resistance trader, there you go. There's my resistance. When it breaks through that, I'm getting in. They bought it into an area of sellers, which again, we've had marked off for weeks. There's your 1 to 3 to the downside. I would say look for Russell also to probably kind of continue to deteriorate. And again, if you didn't get in the first 5 minutes, you're actually already negative if you've been holding this and kind of playing with this wild ride. I'd say look for 2100 today. Look for it to come back down. Most people, I'd say that this is a good profit target right here. It's right before that 2100 number, and 21 will be a psychological level as well. So industries have been a wild ride. I feel bad for a lot of futures traders today. A lot of futures traders probably lost a lot of money very, very fast if they weren't quick to the draw to get in there early. And like I said, if you didn't get in the first 5 minutes, you saw this big boom in Russell saying it's going up. Ouch. Ouch. You lost a lot of money to the downside very, very fast. Again, another reason why using options is a great thing, particularly at the opens. But again, on the 15-minute setups, the ones we talk about on a daily basis, on 15-minute, you had to expect that there was going to be a big boom right off the open. I wouldn't say that this one, I mean, maybe, if you had used this level here and said, hey, listen, we just keep hitting this, bouncing. If you were really looking, again, this is on a 5-minute, on a 15, you should be able to see it. Yeah, it's not as clear on the 15, but all this basing right here, you're kind of looking for it to run into it. You could have probably traded the Russell at the open for a boom forward. Again, short duration binary contracts. This is a lot of stops that got taken out in a very short period of time. Again, learn to take your profit early, not hold it, because if you did, it pulled all the way back on you. So decent trade. Going over to currency. So currencies, actually, we talked about this before, that there was a couple different scenarios. We wanted to see what was going to happen when we hit this level. And we were really looking for a base and then a break. And if we didn't get it, we were going to look for some type of a pullback. Well, the pullback came in. I missed drawing it by a little tiny bit. I actually was calling for this pullback. I didn't get it. It pulled back here and then took off and went to where we kind of drew it. So we never got the break like we talked about. It was the reversal that we got. Since that time, again, 1, 2, 3. We don't expect it to hit, 4 to hold, and it didn't. It broke. So I'm going to leave that on there because I am going to, actually, at this point, I'll probably just use this one that was lower here. We knew we had we talked about alerts a bit lower. Gonna use that one right now. Yeah, it's funny we talked about that level. Right now I'm gonna have to say that I'm kind of I'm kind of in a short mindset on this one with a dollar. I'd like to see some dollar strength come back in, but I think we're going to position. You can see what it grabbed right here. Um, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, look at this. 1, 2, 3. It touched it again. Yeah, this one didn't stand a chance. So we're actually going to remove it because it did get blown on that. I'd say right now, I mean, we have buyers at this 74.58. Again, it stopped the big down draw. Right now, I'd say that would be my target. I would say look for price to come all the way back down. There's a little bit of stuff in here, a little bit of buyers, but I'd say right now this is my target for a down draw. Again, it's dollar strength. I think more people are going to be talking about that point 0.5. It just kind of bounced off of an area. So, if you were able to grab this, again, this is right there is 10:30. So again, 30-minute basing level, one confirmation at 7:45 this morning, a large push down and reversal off that level. Um, I mean, again, it's too late to get in this position now, but this is what this full trade would look like. 1 to 3 would be right there. That's 2.99, which is exactly where buyers are. So again, 10:30 reversal. Again, very important time. We talk about this level at all times. If you are in the short already, again, if you didn't get the first short, you did get another one, another entry into it at 11:45. You're already, let's see, you're at a 1 to 1.95. So at this point, if you're in the trade, you got to have your stop loss probably banking a little bit so you can't lose on it if you're in spot currency. If not, I would, continue to see this deteriorate. I'd be looking for some more headlines as, again, people start mentioning that point 0.5. Aussie dollar. I'm sorry, Aussie yen. So Aussie yen also, this one is very interesting. 745. Now, this is one that we knew we kind of had, some targets here. The 50 didn't really hold. The 61.8 kind of did its job. I'm going to remove it just to kind of give you guys a better view on this one. I love this candle. Okay, this is an education moment. I don't care if you don't get anything else from today. I love this candle. I love the way this candle formed. I love the way that it looks. I love the fact that it's green. I love the fact that we have kind of a front run off of it. I love that we hit it here at about 3 o'clock this morning for the European session. Okay, I didn't know that world peace was coming today, right? And I say world peace, I'm just joking around. The peace over there. There's plenty of other problems in the world, but if you trade the European Open, this is the ideal setup. This is a beautiful candle. It's the way that it's formed. Again, in reading price action, absolutely love its formation in there. It hit it right at 3 o'clock this morning. Right, 3:15 is when that candle hit. You should have already been short this position today. So even if you didn't hit the full profit target, which it looks like the full profit target would have been, actually it did hit the full profit target already. You got another entry into this one. Okay, and unfortunately the second one would have been front run. That trade is already out too. So with that said, what do we do with this now? I think at this point, again, we can use the bottom level. I think using kind of the candle down here, it's been down there. It's not necessarily the freshest of areas, but I'm going to mark it here and say, listen, this is probably where our profit target needs to be. I'm going to pull this right here. In any short that we're in, 91.16 is kind of the level that we're looking for. It's funny that it did all this spacing and stuff in here, but we're not going to use it. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. I'm gonna go top to bottom on this one now, and I want to talk about the same level up here. Okay, so I think if we get any type of retracement back up again, we know that the price took off. Now, this was not a 50%. Up until that time, this level was a little bit shy. It was a supply zone that had been confirmed, and we kind of unfortunately got front run a little bit off of it. Now, with the farther trend down, that 50 just happens to coincide with the same level. So I would set an alert and set your alert for somewhere around this level of 92.89. We know we have an area of sellers above. It's been confirmed. They've been front run. Algorithms are going to jump here around the 50. So the question is, do we get front run again? Okay. I do think there's a short up there. I think it makes complete sense why it's there. Right now, if you are short, I'd be looking for exit at 91.16. It's a level that we could potentially take a bounce off of. I don't love it, but I'm looking for this one to retrace back up. This was a parabolic move down into an area, not the best of areas. Here's the area that it went off of. You guys see the confirmation right here? That's the confirmation of that level. Actually, it should be there. There's your confirmation, and that's kind of what it bounced off of today. So I'm looking for this level to break. That's why I care about 91.16. If it does rally back up again, which I think it will, this is a parabolic move based off of news that was just rumors. So there's no confirmation on it yet. 92.89, I think, is a level we want to turn and look for reversals. Okay. Now, euro pound. Euro pound, we talked about a breakthrough, and we did get it. Unfortunately, this was a Harry Potter trade. We never got the pullback. It gave us the pullback, but didn't really give us much. We talked about a level here that was a pretty clean level. I really actually like this level. I like how it was formed. It was a level in the past, this 84.08. Unfortunately, a geopolitical event like a peace talk, unfortunately, that's not going to hold, and it just sliced right through it. And it's going to happen. Um, Again, not much I can do with it. Now, this next level up top, we got a bunch of basing before the news came out today. Don't get me wrong, the news today about, again, having enough of an agreement to move forward with peace talks. It's a geopolitical event. There's absolutely zero way you can plan for these type of events. Not surprised that this zone didn't hold on a technical basis. This basing right before though told you that it was going to break. Okay. Whenever you see it kind of a hit and you see basing, what's happening is it's forming buyers below the level to get enough power to go higher. So although we were looking for kind of a reversal here, again, the original trade has already been in, it's already out, right? That was the original trade from this level from before. At this point, all it was an extreme range of this zone. So in reality, it's not wasn't really the best short. Again, couldn't prepare for it, but we kind of had that telltale sign of it kind of forming a base beforehand. Now, what's interesting about this is here's a bit of a pullback, and I'm gonna actually let me bring this up to a 30-minute real quick, and I want to get a draw off of this. I want to see. I'm curious to see whether this should have been an entry. Again, 1030 reversal is when it hit this level. I'm gonna pull from low, and again, this may not be the right place. I may have to pull it from here, but I'm very curious to see you super technical guys out there. Yeah, it was the bottom level. A lot of you know when you're looking for trend continuations, right? We know we're supposed to buy on the pullback. If you like fibs, the 23.6 happens to be the most popular level to pull back. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to continue taking this long, but I don't want to get in at the top. I want it to pull back. Everybody knows you buy on the pullback. The 23.6 is that level for a lot of people. Okay. Again, had you been waiting for the actual 23.6 to hit, you unfortunately would not have gotten into position. Had you have used supply and demand, again, marked off this level of basing, right? It took off from here, it touched it. You would have got your entry at 10:30 this morning. And again, I know I harp on this a lot, but again, if you guys can see the bottom of my screen, I don't know if you can or not. 10:30 is such an important time to look. I get asked all the time, what's the most important time to trade? A lot of people think it's at the open. In my eyes, the open is a lot of traps. The retail trader comes online. It's a lot of fish to get, just shooting a barrel. 10:30. If I had to pick one time, it would be 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. Another situation again. Could we have predicted world peace on this one? Not really. And it actually started in the European session, almost like they knew where this was going before the news was announced. We got the news right in this time frame, which gave us the second burst forward, but the European market was already moving. Okay. And then what happened is at 9:30, everybody knew this was great news, right? All the news outlets told you this is awesome. Everything's going to go up. And what happens? The retail trader got in and immediately tanked back down again. Stopped every single person out. And all it did was pull back to a demand level. Again, the demand level was bisected by the 23.6. And this is why having two overlapping systems is awesome. Okay. I am predominantly a supply and demand based trader. I am looking for zones like this, right? But having it overlap with fib, and again, remember fibs are not supposed to be standalone. When you talk to the originators, the biggest people, they talk about how it's a confirmation system. Unfortunately, if you were fib trader, you didn't get in. It didn't hit your zone. It didn't hit your level. Had you used it as a confirmation to tell you that your zone is something, you would have got into the trade, and now we're pushing higher. So, euro pound in my eyes, until we hear any type of negative news, you got to be long this position, right? We were weak euro, weak euro, weak euro, weak euro because of Ukraine. And again, the pound was doing great things. Now it's not so much of a pound thing. Now it's like, oh my God, we have peace. Europe is safe. He's not going to nuke, Germany, right? But the reality is, all that has to happen is we get one negative headlines. Putin has denied peace. They're going to continue to, they're going to ratchet up the pressure again on the Ukraine, and this could come tumbling back down again. So I think it's very important to watch some tops in this market. There will obviously be some profit taking. We knew we already had levels. I mean, here's an old level. I haven't extended this across, but if I do, look at that. It just happened to also coincide with an area of sellers in the past. And again, what did all the news outlets say? They all said go buy. Buy it. World peace. Love it. And immediately it ran into an old area of sellers, which again, we had marked that one off forever. So we do have some zones a little bit higher than where we are right now. Looks like we had a big push off again. So it looks like we do have a level that, we should probably watch out for just a bit above. I would say this would be the next kind of upper level that we shoot for. Again, if we're able to break through this zone, unfortunately for me, it's not enough to take this level of risk and get higher. But I think if we can break through, there could be a potential for a bit of a punch through and then a pullback down. And you could use this if you're looking for something, maybe the European Open to go higher. But in reality, I would say look for the next shorts to come in a little bit higher, probably up here at 84.95 ish level. But again, easy trap. U.S. retail traders coming online saying, "Hey, listen, this is great for the euro. We need to go long. Look at it; it's up for the day. We want to jump into this." FOMO. I feel like I'm missing out on this trading opportunity. Unfortunately, it ran into some sellers, and that's what sent this one down. And this is quite it's a 40 pip reversal. And if you didn't take the reversal off that level, session open trade, you should have got this reversal up. And currently, right now, you're up about 30 pips in your trade. So decent move. Euro yen. So euro yen kind of had the same whipsaws back and forth. Now this one, again, there's some levels back and forth. Technically, it should be good, right, for euro. And what are we? We're going straight down. That's the yen strength coming back in. All the yen pairs are exactly the same. They have been getting beaten up, beaten up, beaten up. And now we're seeing kind of the profit taking in the yen coming back into the market. Again, indices are up today. You expect the yen to be getting some strength, and again, it's justifiable. Is there really any kind of at this point? I'm going to remove the fibs on it just because again, we now have kind of two tops in here. We have an idea of where the sellers are going to be. We have an area where the buyers are down here. We had talked earlier about having a profit target at 134.96. It reversed off these guys right here, right? We know that that's probably going to be profit target number one. Question is, are we going to have enough momentum to drive through and break lower? So right now, I don't really have any entries in this. You know, uh, it's kind of bracketed in on the top and the bottom. So, for me, if I'm going to, you guys have heard me mention the curve before. If I'm going to talk about the last level of basings, I'm going to draw it like this. And we're skirting right down the middle right now. So I think we need to be extremely cautious in this one. Um, I'm kind of at this point, I'm kind of waiting for the shoe to drop. I hate to be negative with this, but I feel that with everything with the G7 saying we're not going to pay in rubles, you're gonna sell to us in regular things. I wouldn't be surprised if Putin sent this peace deal back at least one time first, or say I'm not interested. It's this or nothing. I feel like that's how the negotiating decision is going to go. I feel like this one has the ability to go farther, to the downside. I just don't feel like it's going to be a drop in a hat. Yeah, we love peace. We're all about peace anyway. The only thing that I think that he'll say that listen, it's worth meeting is if Russia is going to get the two separatist regions, right? If he gets his neutrality and the two separatist regions, that's everything he said he wanted in the very beginning. So, you know, will that be positive or negative for Europe? I don't know, but I feel like unless he gets that, he's not going to make a deal. So, my personal gut feeling, and again, you shouldn't trade on anybody's personal gut feelings, but I feel like this one has more room to run to the downside. And again, at the same time, is peace great? Yeah, but that also means that Europe should be raising interest rates sooner, which is also not, it should be great for the euro, but it's going to bring some, emphasis back about how bad things actually are. Okay, as well as I still feel like the paying in rubles is still out there. I feel like that is still something very very big on the market that we haven't heard the end of yet. Now, euro dollar. Euro dollar popped up. Now, we had an alert sitting up here. We talked about this. It's a level we've used in the past already. It's already pulled back again. I don't think it's 1 to 3 is done yet. No, not done yet. Almost. Almost. 1 to 3 is sitting right there. So we're super close. If you're not already in this position, there's nothing you can do. It was a parabolic move. Again, 730 shot this higher. We talked about the 110.40 yesterday, but look, 1, 2, 3, and a front run. We're like, it's not going to hold again. It didn't. It went up, it based in that level, and then blew out the top. So there was a long trade today if you wanted it, but we also talked about that reversal level. It's been one that's already been to fruition once, and at this point, you're already in. Um, if you're short this position, as you should be, and again, this was at 9:30 today, right? 9:30 today is where the reversal kicked in. Um, you should obviously have some profit banked in. You should not be able to lose any money on this one unless it like suddenly gaps past, but that'd be you'd need like a nuclear bomb drop or something like that. So this one will probably come. And again, if you've been watching our morning show, you know that this level was sitting up there. So if you're not watching or don't know what the morning show is, Todd and I broadcast on YouTube every morning. We kind of break down what's hot and where some of the big levels are. 8:30 to 9 every single morning. So those are, that level is now something you want to watch out for and kind of keep it marked there. It's not confirmed. And again, we had an alert. You can see the dotted lines. There's an alert there. Pound yen. So pound yen. Talked about having, kind of a position here. We mentioned the level before because we got to about a 2 to 3, but it had been a level of base and we hit it, we hit it, we hit it. It broke through and then it kind of Harry Pottered us on the top side, right? Came up, based in one candle, pulled back and took off, and then hit it again and hit it again, and then kind of bounced and kind of hit it again here, and we kind of hit it again here and it chopped through. And then what did it do? It went down, it based in one candle, it came up and touched it, and again continued the Harry Potter over here as well. So this is this zone now has been hit twice, and 1 to 3 is there. It's already out. It's already done, so don't get short the position now. Um, Again, hitting the same profit target that we mentioned would be kind of a sticky point before. We didn't hit the profit target, unfortunately, but we did hit it over here. So it was an original trade. Originally, you probably got stopped out at break even, but you got to love levels like that that are used on both sides. At this point, I would say the next big level I'd be looking for, if you're short already, I would definitely think about getting some profit. But I think 159, 99, or I guess 160. Ooh, that's the wrong color. That would drive me nuts. I'm gonna click it up just so everybody with OCD. 160 is your target to the downside. It's got about 51 pips more to go on there. Am I telling you right now to get short? No, no. You should have got short on the pullback. And again, if you don't know what a Harry Potter is, it's something we talk about all the time. It's basically when we have an old level of supply or demand that is violated. Everybody knows the statement that old supply, old resistance becomes new support, and old support becomes new resistance. Um, I don't believe in support and resistance, but supply and demand I do believe in a lot. Um, and you do have the old is new and new is old. And this is just another one of those scenarios where it hit, it's already out, you're already in. Pound dollar. So pound dollar. For those of you that like fibs, this is another one of those targets. We talked about this one yesterday, the 3150. It would be a psychological number because it ends in a 5-0. We talked about we had sellers. We had a large push to the downside here, right? We didn't expect this zone to hold again, and it held one more time, but then blew through. Parabolic move up into a 50% retracement of a fib level, a confirmed level of buying of sellers. It was wedged in between the 50 and the 61.8. Again, pretty easy trade on this one, and I believe this one is out already. From here, 1 to 3 is right there. So yeah, this one is officially out as well. So this is absolutely one that we've talked about in the last basically 2 days. Super super easy. Psychological 50 number, a 50% retracement level, a supply zone as well that had been confirmed once already. And again, it just happened to be that the basing zone itself over here that formed the level just happened to be. And I love to say this is a coincidence, but it's not. It happened to break between the 50 and the 61, right? And again, that was the original level that we had drawn in there. So not surprised at all. And again, if we had to move our fib down there, it's still level. Then it became a 61.8, but it was a little refocused on either way. It's retraced the parabolic move today, so the move is already done. Kind of a little bit late to get into. I still think downward targets are 130.21. Um, this is not. I am definitely still in the bullish camp for the pound, but right now with the Ukraine news, I mean, like I said, the excuse that, oh my God, the uncertainty in the Ukraine. I feel like there's not much more that they can say about it. Again, if we truly are moving in a peaceful direction, there's absolutely no reason they can't raise by point 0.5 at least this time, right? And all the data screaming and all the other headlines, that will bring massive amounts of dollar strength into the market. So again, this is two gigantic bulls running into each other. I'm gonna have to go with the dollar on this one. So I think again, staying short this was an easy entry, especially after a parabolic move at 7:30 this morning. This should have been an easy one to grab. And again, if you wanted a confirmation on it, here's the push, here's the base, there's the pullback to that same level, confirming it, and then it just rolled right to the downside. Okay. Dollar CAD. Parabolic move up, went all the way back up, and we rode all the way back down again. So again, pretty standard. We mentioned 25 is what the target was for the week. Again, obviously a parabolic move. This is a great one for Nadex if you get into it, because again, if you get stopped out on the lower one and you need the top one, you're good to go. But we're kind of just smack in the middle. Right now with this one, I do believe more U.S. strength will come in. I would say that I'm more likely to take this one long right now. But at the same time, do I want to get short CAD? Do I want to go CAD weakness? Not really. There's Canadian news later on this week that's expected to be good. I do think oil does turn around and start to rally a bit more. You're seeing it kind of up this morning. It was down below 100. Now we're at 103 again. You're gonna fight CAD strength in this one. But I think 125 is kind of the equilibrium point. I've been talking about it last week. I mentioned 125, 125. We were down below it. We popped above it, and we're still kind of stabilized. It's 125.18. So I think that's going to be kind of an equilibrium point for a little while until we see the CAD raises come in. Now, dollar Swiss. Dollar Swiss, we talked about this level as well, the 93.71. The trade was already done. It came back up, grabbed that level yet again. Again, it was a dotted line. There's alerts in there. Blew through. This one kind of had an interesting move. If you go top to bottom, you can see that the 50 put up a little bit of resistance, but there's nothing at the 50% retracement level. When you're looking for an area of basing where it took off, you can see it was much more around the 61.8. And if I bring this across, you can see that it kind of chopped through there. Again, because we were already in a short position from up top, this is more of a target than an entry, and it's kind of hit through. I don't think this level will hold again, right? In reality, this should come, this is not really I don't know, peace is not really like a Swiss thing, although the Swiss is a little bit weird right now. The reason why is because they are normally neutral in everything. They actually didn't take a neutral standpoint in this one, so it's not like, Russia's going to send money to the Swiss after they said, "Yep, we're going to sanction your accounts as well. We're going to steal your yachts." Wasn't really neutrality. So I would say right now for me on this, I think the next time that we really look for like major reversals is going to be really all the way down here, right? 9170 is going to be where that level is. Right now, we're just chopping around. I would say that, is there potential for this to rally back up again to that level? Maybe. We do have a bit of a confirmation right here. Again, there was a one top base. It pulled down and then it had a strong push away. The problem is we've already hit it here. We already hit it here. We've already hit it here. This level has been a major level and we've hit it 4 times already. So as much as I'd love to say, hey, listen, we get up to here, take this one short, I'm going to kind of need another catalyst along with, I'm going to need a fundamental reason. And when I say fundamental, I guess it's partly technical too, right? If it's a session open or there's some big US news and we've pushed up to that level, that would be a reason why I'd be willing to take it. It wouldn't purely be just because of chart purposes, if that makes sense. Okay. Dollar yen all the way back. We talked about this yesterday. It was kind of like everyone's like, "Oh my god, the yen's horrible." He's like, "It doesn't hurt us till 130, and it's been nothing but a reversal since that time." We talked about a level at the 50, and it kind of gave us a little bit of a hiccup through. But again, is a 30-minute 50% retracement level where there are buyers, is that going to stop something like we're ending? No, not really. It's just not a 30-minute level is not really designed for something on a geopolitical level. Um, and that's the one I would say that this is the biggest kind of, the biggest kind of you know, landmine for technical based traders. A geopolitical event like war, like missiles, again, peace, those are things that a lot of smaller time frame levels are not going to hold on. That's something you need 4-hour levels or daily levels or weekly levels to be able to hold. And that's just the reality of it. There are pros and cons to every style of trading, every indicator, every method of trading. Unfortunately, that's the big one here. Now, again, was it a great level? It was all right. I mean, I would say it's pretty decent. It was 50% pullback. There was a lot of basing in there. And again, we did have kind of 2 touches. I liked that it was a round number in there. But the reality was it wasn't able to hold, and now it's kind of put us into a short position, right? It dropped, it broke through that level. It turned kind of where it should have. It pulled back, and it's kind of like, hey, listen, should we be short now? I don't think it's necessarily a bad position. I think the yen has a lot to kind of gain from this whole thing. So, is the yen power done? Probably not. But right now, the question is, do you want to, you know, do you want to go against the dollar strength? Right, is really kind of what this will take. So, kind of a hard question there. I would say this is you guys are on your own. I don't want to give you any recommendations because again, I don't give out trade recommendations. But am I leaning more towards the bearish side? Probably. Do I like it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon? Not as much as if it was early. Okay. Now let's go through the commodities real quick. Oil. Oil took a big smash to the downside, and I was kind of laughing about it this morning. We had talked about a target of 103.01. I've been talking about this target now for 2 weeks. We talked about how it would grind, 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 grind. It would have some issues at 108.30 to 108.70. It did. It based in there, came back, pulled in, got the entry, and went short. It just happened to bounce off the 103.01. And again, we had talked about that level for literally about 2 weeks at this point, being a big area. We hit it, we bounced back up, and we pulled back right up to that basing level. Now, had you wanted to draw this here, you could say, yep, there you go. There's your confirmation. It ended up hitting it. And then obviously the peace talks came in, and everyone's like, that's it, everything's fixed. Well, then it started to pull back again. And I was laughing about this, talking about it reversing off $100, and it did. It actually went all the way down to 98.50, and now we're back up to 92. I mean, we're up $3 from that point. Um, Remember, Russia still has a major supply. Russia says you're going to pay in rubles, you're not going to get it. Germany still basically wants to become energy independent, and we still have OPEC plus. So I think there was every reason at the open today to get long oil. You're going to see fib traders looking at this one and saying, well, wait a second, we're at the 50. We should absolutely be shorting. That's probably why we're seeing a little bit of a slowing effect right now. Um, I'll tell you right now, let's see if there's any headlines on it. Nope. The Pokemon Charizard called. So for whopping Elias, if you have Charizard, you Pokemon people, $420,000 if you would have saved those cards. Um, Besides that, you're not really seeing a whole lot here. So, um, yeah, you're not seeing a lot here, right? The last thing out of Russia was, yeah, no, 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 we're not stopping it yet. Oh, you did see Russia blow up a fuel tank. Um, about five earlier was 5 hours ago. Russia said that they blew up a fuel depot in the Ukraine. Was the last thing. So I don't know. Like I said, if all of a sudden Russia and everybody is friends again, they're not lifting the sanctions anytime soon. They're not going to use it. They said they're going to be energy independent, and Russia and again OPEC Plus is not going to be like, hey, you know what? We've lost $17 in 2 weeks. We're going to produce more supply, right? We want to crash. OPEC Plus is not going to say, hey, we're motivated to bring this back down into the low 90s, right? No, it's a lot of money they're losing, right? Russia absolutely is not going to be like, yep, let's do it. you know? So for me, again, I think this is a great opportunity to play a retracement. Had quite a large retracement. Unfortunately, the levels, I talked about this earlier, there wasn't really great levels to kind of base it off of, but as soon as we had any type of a good base in here, that would be an area where we'd be looking to go long. So I hope some people were able to take advantage of it. This is a little bit harder to trade on a technical basis. I do think oil goes back up again. It's funny that we're basing right in the same level now, that 103 level. Natural gas, I mentioned last week that natural gas I expected, it's slowing down. I mentioned natural gas for me. I said oil was more of a buy. Natural gas, I was looking more for shorts. We knew we had a level up here. It's a little bit choppy. We got a little Harry Potter action going here. If we break below 532, again, I'm looking for this one to come all the way down into this 516 area. It's super, super cold. In 2 days in Maryland, it's supposed to be back. It started off today 31. It snowed on Sunday. We're supposed to be back up to 70 degrees on Thursday. So I think with us, this was the, oh my God, it's going to be super, super cold. This is the, oh my God, it is cold. And now we're starting to see it start to get warm again. I think we have this roll back down again. So again, break of 532, I think we shoot all the way down to 516. Not many people play natural gas. Gold getting hammered a bit. Again, kind of funny. We had a little Harry Potter action here. We talked about we were basing. We broke all the way through down to the 18. Actually, let's see. Yep, we did hit it. Down to the 1889. We talked about there being a major level down here. It was a gap. It was an old gap in gold. Um, I would say right now, if anything else, for me, everything that gold does, particularly anything type of increases like this, I think you got to be looking to short gold. A 0.5 increase, again, crushing inflation, focusing on crushing inflation. Those are all short gold type positions. Again, kind of having peace out there. Also, one of those things that is kind of a, an anti gold type play. Um, we talked about this, a break of 110.46. It based in there. It's like, yep, go short. And it did. It was a parabolic move down, ran into a level, parabolic move right back up, and we're in that same level around 1913. So, I wouldn't say there's a trade set up, but again, we know where kind of the high this one is up top. We kind of have an idea where some buyers and where prices have been stabilized down below. Any mention of interest rate rises, you got to be looking short before the news is actually released. And again, PCE tomorrow, the PCE price index, actually, I guess it's Thursday, not tomorrow. This is one of those ones. It's a potential area to get short before gold comes, get short gold before the news comes out, because you see a big pop in this one at all. That's even more reason to raise interest rates, which again is a very bearish negative sentiment. And silver, I'm happy to report silver came down and tagged 24. I've been talking about this for 2 weeks now. My target for silver on a down draw was 24. We got kind of a fake out, right? We got that fake out here where it hit that, our first profit target at 24.55. We were super, super close again, right? We started the U.S. trading session here, right at 7, and then bam, we came down with the open, tagged my $24 target, and we've now pushed back up. But kind of the same thing. Level of basing. If we do, and I even mentioned this, I drew this fib yesterday on there. You can see that we're kind of floating around right around where the 23 is, a little bit above. There was nothing there seller-wise, but we do have something sitting right there. So if you're looking for short silver, we're kind of in that area again. All right. Other things just to note, in closing, Bitcoin took a major, major surge. I mentioned that, hey, listen, this area around 47,000 is going to be a big deal if we break through it for any crypto traders. It's a parabolic move. If this is a stock, I'm typically looking to get short once we can break through there. Ethereum kind of has the same thing, but Ethereum is in an upper channel, a little bit nicer. Dogecoin a little bit weak, but also, last but not least, bonds. Bonds are taking a rally forward, but bonds are also hitting a level right there where we've had some selling. So again, this could be good for the overall indices. They're slowing down a little bit. VIX is doing its thing. So a lot out there. I would say major things to watch out for again. And again, this is it. We're going after this. Tomorrow, crude oil is going to be a big one. Look today to see what the API report is going to be, the non-farm payroll change, also the ADP number. PCE is going to be the big one on Thursday, and then obviously Friday, non-farm employment change is also a mega event. You don't want to miss out on that one. Followed up by a reversal potential at 10 a.m. With ISM manufacturing. All right. So with that said, please mark your calendars off for next week. April 5th. We are at April 5th. Pretty soon we're going to be talking about, oh my God, I got to pay taxes, right? 12 p.m. If you have any questions about anything I said today, you're more than welcome to answer me. My plate's a little bit full right now, so it may take an extra day or two to get back to you if you send anything in. But support at keeptradingsimple.com is how you get in touch with me. Thank you for joining. I'll see you guys next week. And if you can make our morning sessions every day, we try to look what's hot in the markets at 8:45 a.m. Get on YouTube, search Nadex, make sure you hit the follow and the notification button. And that's it. Thank you guys so much. I'll catch you guys next week.